Good morning, folks. It's Lindsey Hudson with SPS back in the building for another Monday Motivation. That's right. Getting started for another great week. I hope you guys had a great weekend. I had an amazing weekend. Not only did I get to spend time with my daughter, which is always great, got to see my mom, but I got to hang out with some amazing people. And that really helps me with today's Monday Motivation message, which is CTA, the courage to act. That's right. Who do I have right here? Let me guess. It's Michelle Mimi Watkins. We've been hanging all weekend, Michelle. Little do you know that today's message has a great amount to deal with you and the work you've done, the work Kyra Jefferson has done with the Kyra Cares Foundation and the recent third annual speed clinic that took place in Detroit, which was a great experience for all ages. When we talk about the topic of having the courage to act, when you look at that topic, courage, it's a unique definition that comes with that. And what I'll say about that is really being able to act on something despite your circumstances. Simply put, to be able to act on something despite your circumstances. Oh, I'm going to always be there to support Team KJ. But, it was something that Kyra said during the interview when we sat down. There she is right there. Kyra Jefferson's in the building. When we sat down for our interview at the Kyra Jefferson third annual speed clinic, we were talking about a number of things and how so many people came and were involved. But she also talked about, as you well know, Michelle, making a decision to go forward this year with the speed camp, despite us being very close to being post-pandemic, really having some challenges. But I think Kyra embodied, Michelle, the spirit of what we're talking about. She had the courage to act, the courage to move forward, to say, hey, this is what we're going to do. And I think so many times we don't have that CTA, the courage to act. But also the CTA leads to change in the atmosphere. When you have the courage to act, people, you can change the atmosphere. By Kyra Jefferson having the courage to act, with the support of you, Michelle, Orlando Watkins, and the great number of volunteers that came out, she was able to impact the lives of so many young people, pour into young people and give them something that they probably would not have ever received, and it's going to help them along their way. I think that's really important. We have to have the courage to act, being able to move forward during difficult times. So many times when things are a challenge to us, we get this paralysis of analysis, I say, where we don't want to move on things. We don't want to make a move, or we listen to every reason why it won't work. And I give great amount of credit to you, Michelle, to the whole Kyra Jefferson family. My guy in the building, Vinto, what's up, brother? How you doing, man? Tino, it's good to see you, man. I know you've been out here. We'll talk about your school in a second in a good way. You'll like that. Good to see you. Thank you for always supporting. So what you got to realize, folks, is that it's not easy. Don't get me wrong. And I'm not telling you to run out in front of a speeding train. I would never tell you that. But it's important to muster up that courage to act. Someone else I know will have some courage. I got to see my Sands, Dr. Damon Omar Watson in the building, originally from Grand Rapids, but all the way in VA, Virginia, Richmond, Virginia. He was in town for his 20th class reunion for the University of Michigan Dental School. That's right. 20 years of being a dentist after graduating from University of Michigan. Tino, that's for you, the #1 dental school in the country. See, Omar had the courage to act. He didn't come from a line of dentists and things like that, but he knew in his mind that he wanted to go where the best were being educated, which was the University of Michigan. Also, shout out to the Kegler family. They hosted a wonderful event at their home. Special shout out to my guy D-Nail right there with the leather blazer on in the middle. He was out of town at the time, but these gentlemen represent 20 years of dentistry coming from the University of Michigan. They all had the courage to act. They all had the courage to move forward. Now they sit in the crowd, a diverse crowd that is, of individuals who are going on and make a great thing happen. See, so many times we don't come from a background where it's able to be handed down to us. We're able to look to the left or to the right of us, and there's someone there doing what we do. We may be the only one. We may be the trailblazer to make something happen. We want to talk about that more. Again, shout out to the Keglers, but Dr. Jarrell Owens, I had the great pleasure of meeting. Thank you, Omar, and his lovely wife, Deanne, for making that introduction, sharing some great things. But he, Dr. Kegler, and Dr. Duncan, years ago, were able to create a dentistry organization. And because of that, they're able to be a support system from others. That Dr. Kegler in the back, getting his chef on. He had some banging salmon and everything else. It was a great experience. But what I'm telling you is that when you have the courage to act, people, your impact can have an impact on people beyond you. What you do now by being courageous and moving forward can help so many other people going forward, what you do and the decisions that you make right now. My guy, Aaron Mays, in the building. What's up, good brother? It's my guy, Aaron Mays. I was telling everyone on the podcast, I got a chance to hang out with my guy, Aaron Mays, and we were getting it in down at They Say. We got to do that again sometime real soon. I appreciate you, brother. But it's all about having the courage to act. There's Aaron right there in the building. Appreciate your support of the SPS Edge podcast, the SPS Edge show. Having the courage to act, Aaron, being able to step out there. And I think so many times we get caught up, folks, in being so scared and so fearful and looking at people who failed. You want to be motivated by something? Let me give you a different point of view. This man right here, sitting down, arms across his chest on a private jet. Jay-Z was just inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. He, Dame Dash, and Kareem Biggs several years ago had the courage to act. When the record labels wouldn't sign them up, they decided to start their own thing. Now, that's not even a question nowadays, but look at the path that they've blazed for so many people. What's going on in your life right now where you need the courage to act? What's going on in your life right now where you need to be willing to change something, move away from something, act on something, say something, or not even say something? Sometimes the act of not doing something is action within itself. If you want to CTA, change the atmosphere. If you want to change the environment around you, it's going to start with that simple act, having the courage to act. And I'm not saying just step out there, free will, not doing your research. Omar couldn't have done that. When he went on to University of Michigan Dental School, he couldn't have just woke up one day and said that he had to prepare. And once he got there, he had to deal with the rigors of what a professional school would bring and the uniqueness of, the University of Michigan and what it brings within itself and all the other things that happen. Do your research. And once you do your research, move on. Because we have to realize, folks, life isn't promised. Nobody said we have 100 years to live. We don't know what tomorrow can bring, but there's such a freedom when you're moving in your own space as far as what you want to do, what you want to accomplish, and more importantly, what you can do for others. How you having the courage to act can impact others. So with this Monday motivation, I want to remind you to have the courage to act. That means being able to move forward during difficult times. We can't always make a move when it's sweet out here. The weather won't always be 60, 70 degrees. Sometimes it's going to be cold. Sometimes you got to push it even when it's not favorable circumstances. Good morning, Stephanie. How are you guys? Appreciate you guys supporting SPS and what's going on. I'm just talking about having the courage to act. CTA, you want to change the atmosphere around you. You got to make a move. And sometimes that move you make may be what other people don't agree with. That move you make may not have 100% support, but what actually does? And actually, what is it that you think you've been given by the universe and God above that's going to have everybody on board with it? You may have an idea no one can really relate to. I'll leave with the story of Kid Cudi. It was an excellent documentary that just came out. Kid Cudi hit the scene back in 2008, and he wanted to make music. He was out of Cleveland, Ohio, and there was a limitation in thinking what kind of music he wanted to make and what he wanted to do. But he made an excellent point. He made a record. I believe that was, it wasn't The Pursuit of Happiness. His first record he made that made it on was very, very popular. And from that point, he put it right up on, at the time, MySpace. And he got the attention of Kanye West, Jay-Z, and he was actually collaborating with them and co-signing with them. But it was this thing that the record label always wanted him to have something for the radio. And he said, look, I'm not living to make something that's going to be something for the radio. I just want to make good music. So he had the courage to act. When he couldn't get 3 weeks off of his job so he can tour Australia for his first song and record, he quit his job that he had. And I'm not telling everybody just to walk out on what you have, but sometimes we got to look at where we are. Don't be caught up with those golden handcuffs. Is there something else for you? And he went on and did that. But also another thing I want to talk about in the documentary, he had the courage to act when he had to eventually check himself into rehab. He was having suicidal ideations. He was going to that next step, which in the mental health profession, we know that when you start thinking about how you would actually, complete suicide is when you really are at a point where it's a dangerous situation. But he had the courage to act on that too. He checked himself into rehabilitation and worked on getting himself better. And there's something to be said about that. So with that being said, as we approach the 10-minute mark, all I want to do is encourage you guys to have the courage to act. We've gotten through most of this pandemic. Believe it or not, it's 2021. We're getting ready for 2022 right around the corner. Thanksgiving, Christmas is coming. These are times where we can have, things weighing on our, on our heart. things weighing on our mind. It can be trigger us, for the loved ones who are no longer here, but it also can be a trigger for you to step into a new role, step into a new phase. 2022 does not have to be what 2021 and other years have been for you. I hope you guys can have that CTA, the courage to act and change the atmosphere around you, and also change the atmosphere for others for the best. So with that being said, I want you guys to have a great Monday, have a great week, have a great month, have a great year, have a great life. To Lindsay Hustle, SPS. See you guys next time. Take care.